Hey everybody, this is Michelle.
Oh, and this is Julie, and we are coming to you from Seattle, Washington. And we also call it the Emerald City because it's so sparkly and green as we go into spring and summer.
Okay, can you tell that we're actually having a few cocktails tonight?
I don't know. You've had a couple. I've had a couple.
Yeah,
we haven't hit a few yet.
Between us, we've had a few.
Yeah, but we are just happy as clams.
And we have this topic that we wanted to talk about. And it actually came about because of a conversation that was had recently with a listener. And that listener, without going into too much detail about the conversation, it was basically because of our age and that we're 50-something friends. And what does that look like? The listener had the impression that at 50-something, there's a specific way that we should be presenting ourselves.
Exactly.
Is that,
No, you're right. You're totally
that?
right. Yeah. Let's just dial back to the fact that we're kind of in our, I don't know, we're 50 something people, right? Whatever. And I was telling Michelle, I have kind of joked around with people and said, well, I'm really immature for my age, but what I was really trying to say is I don't really act like I'm in my late 50s.
What does that mean, though? Let's just talk about that for a second.
The immature part? Or?
No, acting your age. What does it mean to act your age really at any age?
I think you're conforming.
Okay.
So at least that's how I look at it. So there's a couple things that kind of I take into account on this topic. One of them being obviously the age that I'm at and the experiences that I've had and, where I am at in life. And then there's the other part of me that's like, why is it that I feel pressure, I guess you could say, to behave in a specific way that is so fucking boring? I mean, really, that's kind of what it boils down to.
Well, and when we got this feedback from the conversation, we started talking about some of this stuff, and it was really kind of interesting to your point. And I asked that question to Julie. I was like, well, what does 50-something look like? What is 50-something supposed to look like? What does it mean to act your age? My thought on that is you're going to be who you are and presenting yourself in a certain way based on your journey, based on the experiences that you've had over the course of time. My experiences and the way I present myself are not going to be the same as somebody that, let's just say I am a divorced person. I'm 50-something years old. I'm in my late 50s. I'm just about to journey onto my next phase because my youngest will be moving on, graduating college, all that kind of stuff. The father of my kids and my ex-husband, I was married to a Black man for 26 years. The gentleman I'm currently dating is Black. So my experiences are not going to be the same as the person living down the street who is
in a more traditional lifestyle.
Not to say that my life wasn't traditional, but circumstances of it may have seemed that way, non-traditional, to other people based on their experiences in life to that point. Does that make sense?
It completely makes sense.
Yeah.
So I lived in a traditional, quote, lifestyle, but it was definitely different than your traditional lifestyle.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. So that makes complete sense. So when you think about acting your age, and I'm putting that in air quotes, acting your age, what I have understood that to mean is that you are behaving in a way, that society expects you to for your age, or there are stereotypes around what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to be doing it and, how you spend your time when you're in your 50s. That's how I've taken that.
Acting your age?
Yeah. I mean,
isn't that true with anything as far as acting a certain way, those society stereotypes that they put around things? Like if you're, my background in a conservative religious home, you're supposed to act a certain way. There's all those expectations they put on you. And to your point, I think it's the same way, regardless of what age you are, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s and on.
I think there's societal norms, things that, like, for example, with my kids are obviously way younger than me, but that I expect from them. It doesn't really have anything to do so much with their age, but it has to do with how they truly present themselves,
Right.
that they have manners, that they are respectful to adults, that they are well spoken, and those are expectations that have kind of been established with them probably since they were little, because that's what we have taught them. And same with me, probably same with you too. Like you said, the parameters around how we live definitely have dictated that direction going forward. But we kind of going into what makes up the people, just generally speaking, you're right. When it comes down to how you look at the world, it really does directly relate to what your experiences have been, in that world. So when I have had this conversation with myself in my head, I've been thinking, gosh, why am I even spending energy on wondering what is the expectation for me at my age, or maybe what the judgments are around how we're supposed to behave at our age?
Do you worry about that?
Well, obviously I've thought about it. I just do my thing, but I certainly am around that type of attitude, I think, to some degree.
Yeah. Well, just like, this point being brought up is what brought us to having this episode and this conversation. So it's not really something I've thought much about, really. I'm just bebopping my way through life, being who I am.
Yeah.
And so when we started talking about this, that's why it was like, Yeah. What is it supposed to look like? And I think what we represent, we're definitely not representing all 50 plus women out there, because, everybody has their own idea of what that is at that point for them. So
you kind of see it, though. I see it in other places too. And I think, again, it goes back to what societal norms are, what judgments are that are placed in society. I was having a conversation with someone, and he turned 30, and he had gone to this Rolling Loud concert, this huge hip hop concert that was down in LA. And it was like a 70,000 person concert, something that he was super excited to go to.
What's it called?
Rolling Loud.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just sounds fun.
Well, honestly, I looked at the pictures and I'm like, there's no way in hell I would even want to go to something like that. I pay good money now and I'll get seats. Yeah. I am never going to be sitting in a crowd where there's like mosh pits and stuff. Not my jam at all. Never really has been.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was saying, it's like, well, I'm 30 now, so I probably am not going to be able to go to many more of these. And I was like, well, wait a minute here. Why? Well, because I'm 30. I mean, it's like, it's kind of weird that I'd be going if I'm in my 30s and I'm heading to these concerts. And I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Where did that limitation that he was placing on himself come from? And I don't think I've placed it on. I think it's just really, gosh, you've got to, quote, grow up. And so you're not allowed to really do these types of things. No, I didn't ask him where it came from, but I had really...
Or why he thought that?
He just
because he's 30?
Yeah. Oh. It was literally like, I just turned 30 and I guess I won't be going to many more of these. Believe me, I corrected him very quickly because I'm like, you go as long as you enjoy going. You can be 50, you can be 60, it doesn't matter. You just,
says the woman who went to Ice Cube.
I know.
Just
Ice
the
Cube,
other night.
It was so awesome. I know. And I knew that was kind of something that, like, we even know people that are our age that have real memories with old school hip hop. And we're like, no, that's no fair. I would have loved to have gone. Yeah. I mean, so a lot of the people that we know and that we hang out with or that we spend our time with, that is a really normal thing. Yeah. But there are definitely people in my life that think it's odd. And I just kind of think that's funny because I'm like, well, so I guess I'm just not your... Again, I just have to go back to it being life experiences and the fabric of really who people are. That's the beauty of the diversity of so many things, human race, really, and just all the things that are going to make up every individual person. Yeah. Their likes, their dislikes. And you know me, I'm just a live and let live person. Yes, you are. Doesn't really matter what everybody else is doing. I think that's wonderful. When we're talking about age, we're also, I think one of the judgments anyway that's out there is that age is kind of synonymous with being responsible. Which I find very odd because, I mean, we're very responsible people. Yeah, true. You know, and we pay our bills, we pay our taxes, but we just enjoy things differently or we look at life maybe a little bit differently. Yeah. So I would say, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that the word should is kind of a new 4-letter word, even though it has more than 4 letters. What do you think about that?
Well, should have done things differently.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah. We should be using different beauty products. We should be wearing certain clothes. We should be listening to certain music. Those are the kinds of things that I have kind of pulled out of just conversations and things that I've run across, or you just in, some research that I was doing last week on this topic, even though we were just deciding to do it more ad lib. It was really something that I feel like going back to that societal norms dictate that you're supposed to be a certain way.
Isn't that those should things, or that should word is kind of, if you think about it, the whole reason why at our age, we don't really, as you so eloquently say it, give a fuck.
No, 2 fucks.
because of all the should haves that we look back on and think, oh, should have done it. We should have done this differently. Oh, I should have done, and I should have, and I could have, and all of those things. And now we see that. So it doesn't really matter what the shoulds are, because we're going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to do what we want.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of the beauty of getting older too, is being able to have those experiences or being able to make those decisions without having to really place a lot of parameters around yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're basing the decisions you're making on your own experiences. Do you have any circumstances where you've run across that people have inquired about why you're doing something the way you're doing it, or dressing the way you're dressing, or anything like that?
Not really. You know me and how I dress.
Yeah. The Adidas tracksuit that you're wearing. My girl is wearing an Adidas tracksuit, and someone asked her today if she was going to be breakdancing at lunch.
Yeah, at the full, the black, the classic. It's blacks, yeah. And I had, the white Stan Smith Adidas shoes,
but that's funny because even the things I wear, I'm not wearing like provocative things or anything like that. It's not like I'm out there going, please look at me with my whatever, but I wear totally stuff like that, because what would be the other alternative? So many things that my kids in particular, they laugh at me about because they're things that I say or things that I do that they just look at me and go, it's a momism. But, where I would say, you're in deep yogurt, or I'll say these stupid things that my dad said,
Oh, yeah.
And so those things are those are part of my experiences, right? So they kind of age me,
right?
I was like, oh, your shoes look like waffle stompers. And of course they go to the Urban Dictionary, and the waffle stomper is something completely different than the shoes that I wore when I was a kid. It's where I know
it's the shoe, but what is it now in the Urban Dictionary?
It's where you stomp, like poop down the drain in the shower. Yeah. Waffle stomper. I don't know. Because it goes through a grill. Of course, my children look at the Urban Dictionary when I say waffle stomper. I'm just talking about a damn pair of shoes.
See, there's plenty of that's like a thong.
Yeah.
And thongs to me are something you wear. They're summer flip-flops that you...
Oh, see, that's underwear.
No.
To me, it is.
See, maybe, again, it's geographical thing.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, thongs were things you wore on your foot. But then, they came up with this sexy underwear and call it a thong. And I can never have thongs on my feet again.
Yeah.
They're forever flip-flops.
You can call them flip-flops. Yep. They are flip-flops. They make that noise.
See, and I guess there's plenty of things that generationally make us older.
Yeah. And then that's kind of the whole idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be in a place where that's me. I mean, that's how I look at life.
Right.
And I definitely don't look at life that way. So anyway.
I guess that's part of it too. It's mentally. What you do with all of that, how you're packaging it in your brain will make a big difference on how you're acting, how you're feeling.
So true. So true. So if you think about yourself, like it's just like if you're like, okay, let me give you an example. I had gone, this is about maybe 10 years ago or something. I wasn't feeling good, and my neck or back or something was off. And so
my neck, my back.
Here she goes. And so I was referred to this chiropractor who also did kind of more healing work. And I went in and met with him, and I had been given a diagnosis from a regular Western medicine doctor that I had fibromyalgia.
What?
So that was when I made this appointment. So immediately I walk out of this appointment, and I think back on this with this doctor, thinking I had fibromyalgia, and it's like my whole mentality changed.
Yeah,
I'm like, true. all the aches and pains felt a lot worse. All I could think about was a very dark kind of depressing thought. I had a dear friend in at Nordstrom back in the day that had fibromyalgia, and the poor thing was sick all the time. Yeah. Like she had the flu all the time.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that's what I was thinking, right? And so I was like, I got to do something,
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was referred to this other doctor, and he does this whole examination, and I don't remember all the details, but he turned me around. He goes, "You don't have fibromyalgia. Get that damn idea out of your head."
Perfect. I love that doctor.
And I mean, I loved him too. I walked out of there, and it was like my whole attitude, my whole outlook on everything changed. And so I went from being this person that was destined to drudgery and pain to a person who had a brighter outlook.
Yeah.
So if I had walked out of that doctor's office and never gone to see anybody else, I would probably, be laying on the couch all the time in the dark.
You probably would have willed yourself to having fibromyalgia.
God, no.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Brain is a very powerful thing, and our thoughts and all. I think that is a huge factor in acting your age, actually.
Well, you actually see that, with people, like I see people nowadays that are older in their 50s. Oh, that's us. Sorry. In their 80s, 90s. And they are full of spunk and full of spit and vinegar and do silly things. And you know what? That's what keeps them young.
Now that full of spit and vinegar, that's a very telling
of how old I am. That old whippersnapper.
Spit and vinegar. Whoa.
So
yes.
So my older mature side comes out on occasion, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to what does 50-something look like? Again, I think it is different for everybody. And I know with us, it is something where we don't really pay as much attention to it, but we have a really bright lease on life and want to enjoy it in whatever the capacity we choose, whether that's wearing the cute outfit or buying the bright lipstick or going to see a concert that is like Macklemore, for example. There's a story behind that one too, actually.
Just do you, boo.
Just you do you. Yeah,
it all ties in.
I remember the first time I wanted to go see Macklemore. I took Zoe with me because she was my cover.
Oh.
Because I'm thinking, back in the day, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm too old to go see Macklemore. Well, then.
See, that's how
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking that then. Well, then I just went with Eileen a few months ago. And I'm like, most of the people there were around our age anyway, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it was like, I don't care. I mean, we had fun. We were having a great time. I knew all the songs, and that will continue. Probably in 10 years, I'll go do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
you're an experiences person.
I know.
Yes, you are.
I know.
Which is really awesome.
I'm a things person too, let's be honest.
Well,
but more, I like experiences. I think it's important to have those. They make up who we are,
Yeah. So what you're telling me then is that growing older in age is mandatory. But growing older in attitude is optional?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I will take that.
Yeah. We're all getting older, people. I mean, I think about people who say, oh my gosh, you're so old, if they say that, which I haven't heard that. But if they did, I'm like, dude, you're going to be the same age as me in a few years. So just remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take that optional part.
I will too.
So we're talking about 50 something because that's how old we are. But really at any age, what does that look like? And we were talking about this earlier, and there's all these supposed to's because you're supposed to be a certain way.
Do we just pay attention to the supposed to's because that's our upbringing?
Or as opposed to the have to's, I think it's because of our age where you're supposed to be behaving a certain way at this age and stage in life. But also I think it has to do with things geographically, honestly.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
Right?
Yeah. East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, totally different.
I know when I first started dating my sweetheart, he's from the Midwest, and this West Coast vibe was a little bit.
He thinks we're weird.
Different.
Let's just call it what it is. He's like, oh my God, everything's organic. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's weird, it's just different. And so
he's from the South, though. South via Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest. And
the vibe is totally different there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I think geographically too, there's some things that will present themselves differently in regard to activities, behaviors, different musics, culture, creative things, all of that.
So
that kind of make up who we are.
We were talking about this. Michelle and I were talking about this a couple of days ago, and this topic actually just came up as something we were like, you know what? We're just going to like have a glass of wine and chat about it, But I had a conversation with someone who is very conservative, who I respect tremendously, but very, very conservative. And she was very cautious about what she was saying to me and how she was saying it. I could tell. And she was just saying, if you're going to like be talking to people that are in your niche, meaning you're 50 something women, men, whatever, should you be talking about hip hop? And I thought to myself and said out loud, I'm 50 something and I like that stuff. So
it's about who we are. That's just who we are.
Well,
both of us.
And
we
that's
like
kind of where I went to that. And I was like, well, there's a lot of people that are listening to us that are in their 30s. There's even people in our 20s and 40s. I have no problem really with being the age that I am. There's some things that I have problems with it. And it's just the aging process that I'm just trying to get used to. And it is what it is. We're all aging. Everybody, depending upon what age they are, they're all going to be our age at some point, right? If they make it that far. And so you just have to kind of get over it and just kind of be okay with who you are and what you're doing. Even like at the gym, I'm at the gym with people that are way younger than me, and I am doing the same stuff that they're doing. And they have no idea how old I am. I have no idea how old they are, but it doesn't really matter because we're all doing the same stuff, right?
That's right.
So I remember posting a picture last year, and it was on my 58th birthday. And I was like, this is what 58 looks like. And I'm like, you know what? This is what 58 looks like. I give no fucks. I actually look pretty damn good for my age. I feel good. I'm having fun. Why does anybody care?
In some aspects, I think there are those out there, and just, in generality, that are a little bit envious that you're able to do that at 58.
There's a couple of people that I know that are around our age that I had said, when we went to see Ice Cube or whatever, I was like, we went to see Ice Cube. Oh my God, I totally wanted to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're my person.
Yeah.
You're totally my people because you would enjoy this concert with me.
Yeah.
Where there's so many other people that would be like, really? You want to go to that?
Well, and
I'm like, you're not going with me because you're going to kill my vibe.
What they don't know that is, for me, and we're just talking about music right now, but it can really go into any categories. So I love Sade. I love jazz. I love so many different genres of music. It's not just about the hip hop.
Yes, of course.
I love the 70s, classic rock. I sang in a rock band for 3 years. So there's a magnitude of things. So people are going to have their own ideas based on their own experiences of what they think anybody should be at this age. I remember one of Isaac's friends, she was telling me, you're the cool grandma, Michelle, So I want to be the cool grandma.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of cool that I know a lot of the same music as my kids, but they look at me and kind of like, oh, who was it? Which one of my kids was saying that? I think it was my oldest. He was saying, yeah, there's things that you're like doing, Mom, that I'm like, I'm just kind of not sure that you should be doing them. And I'm like, why? And well, you're in your late 50s and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I really had issue with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's really something I admire. I've always admired about you is you're an experiences person, to have the experience of, spending time doing something that you love to do with people you love that you want to be doing. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
It goes back to the whole misconception or stereotype or whatever of people that are, I go back to the words our age, that are our age and they shouldn't be. So I kind of take that now to the next step in this conversation and ask you, when you were in your, you're raising kids, right? You're raising your kids. So let's say you're in your 40s. And you thought of someone who is close to 60, what was your stereotype of that person? What did you like? And you envision that in your head. What did you envision?
Well, I remember getting a birthday card for somebody who was turning 60, and it said 60 isn't old if you're a tree.
They say that about 30, 40 cards.
And I'm only a couple years away from that. So here I am. It's coming full circle. And I can also remember my sister, when she turned 60, she said to me, "It's so weird, Michelle, because I still feel in my mind like I'm 20 years old."
Yeah.
And she would say that, like, I'm 20 with 40 years of experience.
The funny thing is people, I don't know if anybody's ever asked you if you could choose an age, what age would it be? I would never choose to be 20,
Nope.
21, anything like that. If I could choose, I would probably choose like my late 30s or even into my 40s, honestly, because you're able to really have some life experience that you can put behind what you're doing. And you've been able to establish yourself. You've been able to do a lot of things that you've wanted to do. And you're able to experience things moving into the rest of your life.
Yeah. I would choose my 50s. I would choose my 50s because my 40s were very formative. To just like what you were talking about, that's kind of where I was, I had a lot of change going on in my life and different things, and moving through that really brought me to where I could finally feel like I could be me. Going back to how we portray ourselves at a certain age, us being 50 something, it's all those, again, the experiences that bring you to where you are. And there's certain things within you that have always been a part of you, but you haven't been able to let them flourish or been able to enjoy them because of, all the different circumstances that you're going through in life.
But it's funny because I wouldn't really change a lot of those things either.
Oh, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing.
Because I feel like those things were super important and have really been a part of who I am now.
And I guess that's part of the evolution of life that you go through on this journey. And that's where we're at now.
So to your point, kind of the whole compartments of things that have happened, like experiences that have happened or memories that have happened. And we're kind of in a different compartment now. And so now we are in this place where I feel like there's a lot of things about my personality and a lot of things about how I feel when I'm free and everything that I never really displayed earlier on that I do now.
Right.
I'm much more comfortable saying what's on my mind. I always said what's on my mind, but much more comfortable personally saying what's on my mind. And like, for God's sake, we just had an episode that we talked about sex toys and things like that I never in a million years would have done earlier on.
Right.
And so now I'm saying, you know what? I give zero fucks about who, that's your statement.
It's true.
No, about who cares.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking about people that are going, oh my God, they're going to listen to this episode. They're going to be like, she's literally needing to be committed. Okay, maybe not. But I feel like your point originally when we were talking was that everyone has a place that they're at right now because of the life that they've lived, the circumstances they've been in, and what they've been able to be exposed to. And what you have been exposed to is different than what I've been exposed to and other people that we're aware of. And so we all have different realities that we're in.
Exactly.
So, hey, with that in mind, we talked for a moment ago about forgetting your age. It's just a number, right? And then really doing what you want. And for us, it's like, wear the cute shoes, get your hair cut however you want, grow it out, do whatever you want to do. Don't feel like because you're in your 50s, you can't have longer hair.
There's a lot of things with it coming from the cosmetic world. When older women would come in and they would say, well, they say you're not supposed to wear shimmer on your eyelids, once you get to be my age.
Who's they?
I was like, who's they?
Or foundation.
And if you like it, there are things like, there's things that can make you look better and enhance. But, if you're liking something, there's ways of,
well, I think it's about presenting yourself in the best possible way. I'm probably not going to be the person who's going to, wear an outfit that is like you pick out in Brass Plum or something, right?
Right.
But I might wear a version of that is from a different department, So anyway, kind of going back to we've talked about this before, but we only get one life. So we're in a different stage of it now and we want to enjoy it. And so if that looks different to us than it does to you, then that's okay.
You could say it's a generational thing. I'm just sitting here thinking of different scenarios, and we can, say that it's generationally different now, but I think everybody has their own inner spirit that they just need to really identify and embrace, and don't be afraid to do that, because it's really, truly who you are.
So this is a little extension of Just Do You, Boo, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it really is.
Well, hey, as we kind of think about
Just Do You at 52.
I wonder how our listeners are going to have loved our last episode that we had.
About the sex toys?
Yeah, that one. And then we talk about Just Do You, Boo again. No, really, just do you.
No, really. Do it.
Do it. Anyway. Well, okay, we're going to sign off. We will chat with you soon, but thanks for your listening time. And
remember to check us out on all the social platforms. We are on them, and you can listen to us pretty much from wherever you listen to your podcast. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.